was placed at Just Harvest in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I worked on their Fresh Access program, which was a pilot program to allow customers at farmers markets to use their SNAP benefits as well as credit and debit cards. And that was available at 6 locations that were managed by city parks in the city government of Pittsburgh. But before I talk about that program, I want to give you a little bit of background about the city. So Pittsburgh has received a lot of attention for being a city on the comeback. And there has been an increase in public funding and resources for improved benefits. While that's been happening, longtime residents of the city who are predominantly Black and low income have been displaced. And that really raises the question of who these improvements in public benefits are actually intended to serve. And that's a conversation that comes up a lot in Pittsburgh and is relevant to the discussion of farmers markets as well. At Just Harvest, we work a lot to connect people to public benefits and recognize that SNAP is extremely important in Pittsburgh to improve the lives of low-income people. But we also recognize that access to public benefits is only one factor that affects both an individual's well-being and the strength and vitality of our region. So that brings me to the discussion of why it's important to increase access to farmers markets for SNAP recipients. In Pittsburgh specifically, nearly half of the city's population is unable to conveniently buy fresh produce in their own neighborhoods, let alone at a convenient price. And farmers markets can be a solution to this issue of limited food access. From an economic justice perspective, expanding access to farmers markets ensures that low-income people have access to the full range of food options as their higher-income peers. And we also believe that connecting farmers and small business owners with low-income shoppers who might otherwise be unable to buy their products stimulates the regional economy and provides an economic benefit to everyone in the region. So I want to talk about Fresh Access, focusing on 2 neighborhoods where the program was available in 2013. And that's East Liberty, which you'll see on the right of this map. That serves all of those neighborhoods. And in Carrick, which is number 12 on the bottom of this map. East Liberty is a historically Black and mixed income neighborhood in Pittsburgh, and it is currently experiencing rapid gentrification. So a lot of longtime residents are being phased out of that neighborhood as development dollars are pouring into the region. And the farmers market can demonstrate what that narrative looks like in real time. So sales figures from Fresh Access indicate that EBT shoppers do make up a strong customer base at that market, but people who come to that market are predominantly higher income. And East Liberty itself is surrounded by neighborhoods that are higher income and predominantly white. And so this really raises the question of whether or not this market is actually catering to the people who live in the neighborhood where the market takes place. In contrast, the Carrick market had the highest proportion of EBT sales of any of the farmers markets in the city park system during 2013. And most of the shoppers using EBT were recent immigrants to the neighborhood from Bhutan. So Just Harvest worked with the Bhutanese Community Association of Pittsburgh to receive recommendations about how that market could better serve the new clientele who were shopping at the market. And through our connection with Penn State Extension Service, we were able to provide technical support to an existing city parks vendor who had not previously sold at this market but was interested in growing crops that would better serve the Bhutanese residents of that neighborhood. And so that's a positive example of bringing together multiple stakeholders to address the needs of the community where the markets are taking place. And so I think both of these examples really, on a programmatic level, underscore the importance of targeting the outreach and promotion of a program like Fresh Access to low-income residents and residents of color in those neighborhoods. And the Carrick market in particular really emphasizes the need to create a multilingual approach to both education and evaluation. Something else that I learned through the course of my evaluation was that the single best strategy to get more low-income people to shop at farmers markets is to increase their purchasing power. So in 2014, Just Harvest will create an incentive program to give additional funds to shoppers using SNAP at the markets so that they can stretch their food budgets further. And I want to wrap up by talking a little bit about the policy environment that can allow a program like Fresh Access to thrive. So in Pittsburgh in particular, integrating Fresh Access into the overall farmers market programming will allow Just Harvest to reach out to additional farmers markets in low-income neighborhoods and to be able to expand the program to make a bigger impact across the region. On a federal level, participants in our evaluation focus groups discussed the impact of the November 1st cuts to SNAP on their purchasing power, and many talked about the fact that they had prioritized shopping at farmers markets and were unable to do so or do so as often as they'd like because they had limited resources. And so both on a local and a federal level, I think that programs like Fresh Access can only truly be successful when low-income people not only have access to sufficient resources, but also have access to the opportunities to use those resources the way that they choose.